Hello friends, welcome to the first ever kart race at CMIV, or less cryptically, VIMC in reverse. So yeah, this is the first time the reverse kart layout has ever been raced at VIMC, and while it wasn't without incident, it was incredibly entertaining learning what is effectively an entirely different track. Especially with the elevation changes, which you can see on this practice lap, basically every part of the track felt very different from the regular layout. Unfortunately, this was the last practice session I was going to get before qualifying, and I still very much felt like I was learning that layout. Didn't really feel confident with any of my turn-in points, for good reason I think, as they definitely needed some refining, and probably as a result felt like I had very little grip and couldn't get back on the throttle. Moments like that didn't really help with the confidence either. Still getting used to an actual braking zone in these karts, and on that lap I had decided that I was braking a little bit too early and wanted to push it back a bit, and just overdid it on the brake pressure a little bit there. As you may have surmised, that also won't be the last time I end up pointing backwards. Maybe I'm just too used to going the other way, I can't break the habit. Anyway, that's about how practice went. I was a good 2-3 seconds off the pace, I think, on my faster laps, and now it's time for qualifying. So this is my first lap of the quali session, and to start with I got a nice little toe onto the straight there, so that should help. This corner turned in at approximately the right time, but I was off the throttle for so long there. I think I needed to let off either a little bit earlier or just more sharply and even give it some brake to get slowed down faster and then get back on the throttle as quickly as possible. You can see that compromised all the way down this back straight, and the guy behind me is right on my tail by there. Come around here, he got a little bit of a run on me again, and then I'm not aware that he's right there, I'm just trying to do my lap, and unfortunately he tucks in on the inside, which means I can't take that apex and really kind of compromises that corner, compromise his as well, so he's still behind me and we both kind of lose out. But anyway, it's a long session, no big deal. So come over here. That was pretty decent. I was probably a little bit too conservative there, hitting that apex too late. I wasn't really using all of the grip on the exit, even though I did track out close to the barriers. But again, first lap, now on to the second one. So I'm going to take it a little bit, oh crap. Alright, let's see that again. So that wasn't great. What I needed to do was lift or brake a touch earlier and then be able to get back on the throttle sooner. But what I did instead was come in even hotter than the lap before and then lose the rear and collect the guy behind me. What's worse, he came out of it worse than I did. I was able to keep going, although I found out afterward that my steering shaft looked like this, so I wasn't going very fast. But yeah, as you saw, he had a bit of a sacrificial axle slash rear wheel there, which probably helped me avoid worse damage, so I guess I can be thankful for that. And fortunately, we were both able to set that lap before, though we were battling during it, so it wasn't a great one, but it was something, and amusingly had us starting side by side for the pre-final here. Fortunately, both able to at least get the damage repaired and take that start, though. Now I'm just going to speed through the formation lap here. Normally I wouldn't show it at all, but as you'll see, it's going to become relevant in a moment. So we're just about to come up to the final corner of the lap here, and you'll notice we're still very spread out and not exactly in formation, so presumably the leaders are going to hold up anytime now. There's the start-finish line. What is going on? And there's the green flag. So I guess that's the start? I don't know what the heck happened there, and we certainly weren't in formation, but it appears we're racing. So, I guess we're just going to make the best of that. We're at least up with this pack here, so let's try and make something of it. Fortunately, did not get a great run through there. I had to check up a little bit because they were all kind of clogged, and that's got me right in the sights of the people behind me. One of which is going to go through there, but anyway, chaotic start, long race though. I think I can probably get him back. even right here. Or perhaps not. Remember, those curbs are all designed, one for cars and two for going in the other direction. So when you hit them in a cart going this way, it's kind of like trying to ride your bike upstairs. It does not feel very good. Anyway, got a decent, if not great, run out of that last corner, and I'm in the draft, so I'm gaining here. But then I'm on the rev limiter, and he's already pulled to the inside on these carts, so maybe I can follow him by. Yeah, that worked out pretty well. We'll had to take quite a bit of one of those unpleasant curbs there, though. And ultimately, none of it matters. It appears we've finally figured out that we didn't actually have a proper start. I honestly have no idea what happened there, but, you know, commentating it as I was thinking at the time. So, this is for real going to be the start of the race, and I guess all of that was some very spirited tire warming. So, let's just get around the rest of this lap. Looks like Donnie would like us to slow down this time. Unfortunately, only the people behind him can actually see that, so I guess it's not going to happen. It's still going to be, again, a fairly spirited formation lap, although at least somewhat in formation this time. Alright, here we go again, coming up to the last corner. We're at least somewhat 2x2 this time. I almost wonder if it was intentional to come through here a bit quick by the leaders, just so the pack isn't too bunched up to try and avoid carnage at the first corner. Which, amazingly, we basically did 2 starts and didn't have carnage either time, so that's pretty impressive. Alright, so we're starting on the outside, which wouldn't normally be great, but I think it might actually be the safer place to be here. Just gonna try and tuck it up behind the guy in front of me. He actually got a better jump than me. He got a great jump. I got a pretty good one. I am gaining on the carts on the left at least, so I can make up a couple of places there and just hope that nobody understeers into me. Good, managed to do that, and managed to slot in behind our friend Chris in the 84 here. And okay, this is a reasonably good start. I guess we had a bit of practice starting, so... yeah, too late on the apex on that one, but I'm just trying to stay in his draft, so maybe it makes sense. And again there, really entered that too wide, I think. That's basically what I was doing all along. I don't know if I had really figured it out at this point in the race. But still dropped off a little bit, but we could easily gain that back. Ooh. Corner cut there, he got away with it, and we gain a position, and still in the draft and even able to give a couple bumps here, so this is a pretty good start. Probably not enough straightaway left to gain an additional place there, and yeah, I got a little bit nervous heading toward the corner. I didn't know exactly where he was going to check up, so intentionally let off just a bit early. Unfortunately, you see, even just that little bit, how much that cost me going up the hill, and then that carries all the way through this back straight, so how much I'm going to lose there. And yeah, I definitely need to be turning in earlier and apexing earlier there. I'm not tracking out or using any of the grip on the exit, and it's really costing me as run from qualifying going to sneak up the inside there. He thought about it, but didn't quite manage to make it happen that time. This is all pretty easy flat through here, except if you're trying to pass. Whoa! Ooh. Had a little bit of a heart attack there, but fortunately he got it under control and I didn't go into him, so all good. And I guess we can bump down the straight again. Let's see if we can get this one right, because this is definitely the critical corner. And yeah, I got a better run through there that time, and see, I didn't lose contact as I did the lap before. He does start to pull away from me once we hit the straight here, though, which is weird because we were going up the hill at roughly the same speed, I thought. Could just be a gearing thing. Once again, I took that corner terribly, didn't even manage to get to the apex early or late. This one was a bit better, and yeah, that's closing me back up a bit with the ones in front. Over that seam there, gotta wait for the cart to settle past the seam, then can give it a bit of brakes, not too much because we don't want to loop it again. Yeah, it's a relatively late apex, but you want to apex early enough to use all of the track out to the barriers. And that was actually a pretty good lap time. 59.3 gets me certainly within a second of the best times of the day so far, I think. Yeah, not a perfect lap, especially on the left-hand sweeper. You know, didn't hit the apex there. That wasn't ideal, and there were another couple of things that weren't perfect, but I'm definitely at least starting to dial it in. And of course, being in a draft, the whole lap definitely helps too. Managed to carry a bit more speed through the left-hander that time, that little wiggle mid-corner notwithstanding. Still apexing a little bit too late, which is why I got said wiggle. Once again, I'm stronger on the right, and again managed to start closing back up the gap that I lost on the left. That honestly didn't feel too bad, but I obviously didn't get quite early enough on the throttle. Those little differences can make a big difference when it's compounded all the way down the straight. Still, with a gaggle of karts in front of me, there will definitely continue to be opportunities if I can find a way to exploit them. And this might be one right here. Look at that. Caught some lap traffic, went by 1, 2, 3 karts, maybe? Right close with Donnie and the 10 on the left there. Now, what I really need to do, I think I am by him, and if I'd just gotten over to the left there to cover that off, but instead, I figured I could hang it around the long way, and that did not work at all. There go 1, 2, 3 karts back by me, so that could have been glorious. It did not end up being so. However, we're still with them. We didn't lose any places at least, and still obviously... Oh, God! This race, man! Alright, well, made up a place there. Not the way I'd love to do it, but I will take that opportunity. However, look at this. He is just coming screaming back and is going to drive by me like I'm stopped. Now, I was really scratching my head at this point. I think basically what happened was, normally at that point in the end of the straight, you're on the limiter. And we're on the same gearing, actually. I know this because I chatted with him as we were fixing our karts due to my mistake back in qualifying. Anyway, normally you're on the limiter there, the other guy's on the limiter, so even in your draft, he's not going to be able to pull out and pass you. This time, his wiggle at the top of the, you know, the last corner on the previous lap checked me up as well. It slowed him up harder, so I was able to go by, but once I was by, he was in my draft, which let him gain his speed back a lot faster. You know, he got right up to the rev limiter and was able to cruise by me. So I guess it does make sense, but, you know, feels bad, man. And now here we are on the next lap. Now, it certainly looked like I got a better exit out of that last corner than him, but I think it was kind of an illusion. I'm still apexing that too late and not actually using all of the grip on the exit. So even though he missed the apex a little bit, he's carrying more speed and using the grip all the way around. So I gained a little bit through the corner, but then he kind of slingshots out, and even with the draft, I'm not able to catch up. That said, I do wonder if I'm down a little bit on power. I did realize that I had forgotten to put a spacer in for my fuel pump, so in theory I'm sucking hot fuel. Everybody else likes to have the spacers. I don't know how much difference that kind of thing really makes, but, you know, maybe it makes a little bit. And now I've got my work cut out for me, because I've lost touch a little bit, largely because of not being able to take that left-hander properly. I really wish I'd figured that out a little bit earlier in the day, but anyway, got a little bit of help there, I think, from the lapped cart. Oh, I don't know, maybe not. Still a pretty good gap. So let's just put our heads down here and see if we can close it up. Well, I'm not going to take any credit for it because I think it was all him checking up for that yellow flag, but the gap is closed, so now maybe I can make something of it. Now, I at least managed to get near an apex on that corner. Had a little wiggle there again because I think like I said, I'm apexing too late. If I apex a little bit early, I can be a bit straighter for that tricky middle part of the corner where it gets bumpy right on the inside there. And then there's really a lot of space and a lot of grip on the outside as the hill levels out and the kart compresses a bit. Now the funny thing here is that having to pass that kart actually forced me to take a better line through there than I usually do, to use more of the grip on the exit and carry more speed. So I actually got a decent run down here and was able to give him a bump. Now, as I bumped him, I saw the white flag. I'd already kind of committed to it. If I knew this was the white flag lap, I probably would have seen if I could have gone for a pass there rather than a bump. It would have been a bit tricky, but I could have gone on the inside into the first corner and maybe made it stick. As it is, he opened up a little bit of gap up the hill there again, and this is going to be probably pretty tricky to make happen this lap, but we're going to do our best. Too early on the apex that time and cut the corner to boot. See what I mean about not really feeling confident about my turn-in points yet. Anyway, looks like this pass is not going to happen, but still not a bad pre-final. You know, I had that 1:59.3 lap, which was definitely my best so far, and was starting to at least feel like I was getting a sense of the course. Also made up a couple positions, even though I wasn't able to make all those passes stick. So I was pretty happy with that. In fact, I wish I had it on camera, but back in the pits I made a comment along the lines of, well, that was pretty good, so it's all downhill from here. And yeah, we'll see how the final goes. So let's jump into that. First to recap, I think I qualified 13th, so started the pre-final 13th, finished 10th, and here we are starting the final in 10th, beside number 10 as it happens. No weirdness on the formation lap that time, although it was pretty spread out. So we're just coming around the last corner here and ready to take the start. Again, I'm starting on the outside, which I think I like in this configuration. It seems like the runoff space over on the right, there's more of a chance to avoid any carnage if it does happen. Of course, fingers crossed. And maybe, just like last time, we can even make up a position or two. Let's find out. Alright, not the best start, but not the worst either. We lost one position to the guy on the inside of us there, 72, but we survived. That's the important thing. And you know what? That, I think, is the best that I have taken that corner so far. Still need to be turning in and apexing a touch earlier, I think, but it was better, and managed to hold a bit more mid-corner and exit speed without having any wiggles. And look at that, got a decent next corner and retook that position, so that's awesome. Even closing up on the carts in front of us here. And that was one of my better lines through that corner too, so that'll help as well. Through here, I'm just trying to take the shortest possible path all the way on the inside there, and then basically taking a diagonal up to almost my turn-in point here. I'm going to get back on the throttle earlier there, I think. I'm being too timid with it, and just look at how much the guy behind me is gaining on me through there. He is very much in my draft now, and yeah, pulling out. Of course, I was completely unaware of that because I'm focused on the guys in front, who I'm still kind of gaining on, or at least staying even with. So was not prepared for that, and it was a bit annoying because now he's in my way and I can't quite make the pass back happen. Still, I'm thinking I can be patient. We got lots of laps. It's actually a 12-lap race, so plenty of time. So I'm not too concerned, and I think I can close back up with this pack ahead. Just need to get another good exit out of this corner here, which He gets a little bit of wiggle, and I do. Oh! Ouch. That sucked. Yeah, technically my third time facing backward too, and this time I really get to sit here and enjoy it while the entire pack goes by. Well, that's changed the complexion of my race a little bit. Oh, there goes one more. Now the entire pack's gone by. So, you'll notice that my steering wheel is pointing a little bit leftward, despite me going forward. First of all, I guess the fact that I am able to go forward at all is kind of a miracle. I was not really expecting that as the barrier was flying at my face. So yeah, I should also say I'm glad that it hit the front fairing rather than literally hitting me in the face, which probably also would have been quite unpleasant. But, yeah, the cart's working. I have another bananaed steering shaft, so that's 2 in 1 day. And I don't think the resulting extreme toe out is helping my straight line speed all that much. But I am still able to drive, and let's just see if we can make up some positions, I guess. Starting with that one. 1 down, 38 or so to go. And let's definitely try not to hit that barrier again, however inviting it might look jutting out into the straight like that. Yeah, looking at the Micron data, I'm about 6 kilometers an hour slower down that straight now than I was before. Some of that's probably the barrier cutting off the exit of corner 1 a little bit, and the rest is going to be the banana shaft. Alright, couple more passes here, though. Oof, had to ride my bike up some more stairs for that one. And now we get to come around and see the carnage again. You know, I may be a bit biased having like face planted into them, but I really don't love these black barriers for this part of the track. Honestly, like the blue ones we have are lighter and also locked together better, so I think it's much less likely that one of them would fly off and smash into somebody like that. So maybe those ones would be a better choice for places where the barriers are actually being used as course boundary, as opposed to, you know, just added safety around a hard barrier. Honestly though, at the pit exit we just have a cone wall blocking it off, and I don't see why we couldn't do that for the pit entrance as well. If you want to disincentivize people from just taking out all the cones, which I definitely think you would, there could be a rule where if you know, knock over more than one or end up on the other side of them, that, you know, you have to drive slowly through the pit lane or whatever it might be. I don't know, just a thought. I mean, I know there's plenty of tracks out there where there's walls all over the place, and I'm sure there's pros and cons to every option. Anyway, back to the race. Maybe we have an opportunity to pick up another position here. Will this get us up to, you know, 36 or so? And looks like pass done. 1:13, not a terrible time considering, you know, how much my cart's dragging on the straights, but I really do think I can get better. I'd at least like to get into the 1 minutes. Without a draft, probably not going to be doing any more 59s, but let's see what we can get. Once again, turning in and trying to apex way too late there. It's amazing how obvious that is reviewing the video afterward, but at the time, it's just, you know, not that. Maybe I gotta find a way to review video during the day. Anyway, for the right-hander, I took it intentionally a little bit wide so that I wouldn't catch him right at the exit, and managed to time that fairly well and make another pass. And given the new obstruction at the exit of that one, I think that was actually a pretty good line through there as well. Now looking up ahead, there's actually quite a number of carts there, so if we can close this little bit of a gap, then this might get interesting for a bit. Okay, there goes one with sort of a problem, and holy cow, look at this. Now, you know what? I think I probably could have gone all the way over to the left there and just gone by this entire gaggle. But, yeah, I didn't pick that gap at the time. Still managed to make a couple and just squeeze by another one or two through there. Get the momentum up and, yep, able to get over on the inside again here. And that's another two. So, yeah, perhaps not as easy if I just, as if I just cruised down the left, but got most of them, and I think these two up ahead are makeable as well. Another decent exit from that last corner. Might even help me to catch up to them down the straight a little bit, despite my drag. Yeah, or at least not lose ground. But do gain ground in the braking zone there, or at least the lift and turn in zone. In fact, almost maybe too much. I had to let up just a tad on the hill there to not catch him at the wrong time. And now this would be the right time, except there's a yellow flag out there, so no passing here. I'll just help him along a little bit. And try and find another spot. I didn't really get back on it at the ideal moment there, so going to be a bit tricky on this little mini straight. We did get a really good run out of there though, so I can probably just about get up on the inside. Just about, but not quite, I guess. Alright, switch back. This is really more difficult than it should have been. But there, we do get it done. And lost a little bit of ground to the guy ahead there, but I think we can probably make that back up. Alright, let's go. And just to be safe, I'll stay to the inside here so that he doesn't get any ideas about trying to get back at me. Try and take this last corner fairly well one more time. And I don't see anybody up ahead, so that might be... Ooh. Looking too far up ahead and not at the apex of that corner, but got away with it. That might be it, but, you know, let's keep going and see what we can do. Now, I was looking ahead, not behind, while I was in the cart, but looking at the rearview camera there, they actually gained quite a bit on me down that straight, and were taking a look up the inside there. So, you know, I maybe should have gone a little bit defensive there, actually, if I'd realized what was happening. But again, fortunately got away with it, and now I've got a pretty good gap. Took that fairly well compared to how I had been the rest of the day. A bit too wide on the entry of this one that time. But, you know, good enough since I have nobody ahead of me or behind me at this point. Really, as long as I can finish the race here, it's probably good. Although there is one cart up there, so maybe there is yet one more that I can pick off. Let's find out. And there we go. He might have actually been a lap cart given the speed differential there. I'm not really sure. It's a little bit tough to tell the difference when you're starting back in 40th place or whatever. But, yeah, that's done. And what are we on? Lap 11 of 12. So, one more lap to go. I'm just going to give you a spoiler here and let you know that I do not manage to catch any more carts on that final lap. Why am I telling you this? Because... yeah, my GoPro battery just died. Again, those things don't last very long. The rear camera is still going strong this time, but yeah, you probably don't want to watch a whole lap of not much happening in a little shaky backward-facing window. Let me know if you do. But hey, we almost got to see the entirety of what ended up being my fastest lap of the final, that 1 minute point 8, which I guess is not too bad for a broken kart. Certainly could have been worse. And I guess that goes for the whole weekend, really. I was actually shocked to find out after the race that I made my way all the way back up to 14th place, which normally is not a finish that I would be super thrilled about, but coming back from, I think, literally 38th or 39th, that seems pretty good. Yeah, I think, you know, if not for that bad luck, I might have been able to fight for 5th or 6th or somewhere around there. But, you know, the important thing was, had a lot of fun, really enjoyed starting to learn this course. And, you know, now that I've reviewed all the data and the video and stuff, I feel like I've learned a ton. And I can't wait to try it again. But unfortunately, that probably won't be until next year, because I think I've only got one more weekend of kart racing at VIMC this year, and that's going to be in the forward direction. So got to get my mind back in that direction, and hopefully no more facing backwards. Though speaking of facing backwards, look at that. We ended up watching the final lap after all. All right, I hope you all enjoyed, and as always, I'll see you next time, or hopefully out at the track.